This is a video by Richpin. This is another episode of my Saturn S-Series videos. What we're doing today is we are doing some troubleshooting on the fuel gauge. Have you ever had this problem on your fuel gauge where the needle stayed at full or anywhere along the gauge? It never moved? Well, today we're going to see if we can pinpoint why it's doing that. Next thing we need to do is go into the trunk, take the liner here on the bottom of the trunk, peel that back as much as you can, and this liner right here on the side, we need to peel that back. Now what you're looking for is this connector right here. It has a gray wire, a purple wire, and a black and white wire. The gray wire goes to the pump, the purple and the black and white wire, that goes to the fuel sending unit in the tank. And if it has tape on it right here, take the tape off and you want to separate the connections. Now to do the troubleshooting, we will need one item. And it's this item right here. It is a 100 ohm resistor. You can use this one right here, which is a Radio Shack part number 27111311. Next thing we need to do is to take the resistor, solder it to a 2-inch length of wire, 2 pieces as you can see right here, and what I've got on the end are 2 female 1/8 crimp-on spade connectors, and then we need to take some tape and wrap those on the end of the connectors. Then take a small screwdriver and then right in the end of the connector, just enlarge it just a little bit. Just push it in because we need to open it up just a little bit. Now our jumper's ready. Once you have the connector loose, it will look like this. You'll have the female end right here that goes down to the fuel sending unit, and this part right here, the one with the male pins, that goes up to the front of the car, to the gauge. Now what we want to do is take our resistor right here with the jumper ends, and we want to connect that to the purple wire and the black and white wire. The gray wire is the power down to the pump. So let's put our jumper on the purple wire and the black and white wire. Okay, there we go. Now we need to take a piece of wire, which I have here somewhere. Alright, here's the piece of wire that I have, and we're going to put that in this connector right here, the female connector, in the gray wire. Right there. Now, we're going to take a jumper wire, doesn't matter how long it is, and we're going to jump from this gray wire, and we don't want this wire to touch anything. So make sure that that doesn't touch any ground or anything. And this is the other end of this jumper wire right here, and we want to come over here to this connector and clip it onto the gray pin, just like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start the car and watch the fuel gauge. Now what that 100 ohm resistor is going to do is it's going to duplicate roughly a half a tank of fuel. So let's see what happens. And there it is. Just a tick over half a tank. What this test told us on this vehicle was that the wiring from that connector back in the trunk to the gauge and the gauge are working properly on this car. Now, if your gauge was malfunctioning and you did this test and it worked properly, that would tell you that the fuel sending unit in the trunk is faulty, or the wires going to the sending unit, but most likely the unit in the tank. Now, if after this test your faulty gauge did not respond to what it just did here, move up to half a tank, well then you have wiring from that connector back there or the gauge as the fault. And that's all for checking a faulty fuel gauge on your Saturn S Series.